XRP Army, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Shout out to you guys, for showing so much love on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, if you're looking at the market, you guys can tell, things are starting to heat up, and we're gonna discuss, what's happening. Pull out the charts, talk about all that good stuff. If you're enjoying these updates, do smash that like button and of course hit that red subscribe button. It goes a long way, and your support would be greatly appreciated. But anyhow, as we are going into a brand new week, we're starting off on a really positive note, as I mentioned on my H-bar update as well. Seeing actually double-digit gainers across the board right now, which is always nice to see. SPX is up, Radium, ENA, you guys get the idea, but the broader market, most importantly, is gaining traction, and that's what we need to be focusing on. As far as XRP is concerned, we're looking at $3.26 in terms of the price in USD comparative. In the last 24 hours, we are up about 2.5%. I know a lot of people probably got shocked. 442%, that's crazy. But no, guys, that's on the yearly time frame, and that itself is also something I want you guys to keep in mind. What a lot of people forget. The price of XRP in the last 12 months is up 442%. Let that sink in. And like I said, not a lot of people realize that, but I'm sure the true XRP holders that have been accumulating dollar cost averaging and throughout are the ones that are smiling at this point. But we're also up about 1.7% in Bitcoin. Comparative valuation approaching 193.2 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume picking up, approaching $6 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer. Anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So look at this. S&P 500 futures opened above 6,400 for the first time in history after President Trump announces a trade deal between the US and Europe. And I was anticipating that. If you did watch my XRP update, which went live late yesterday, I spoke about how I would expect the traditional market to react in a positive way. And that's exactly what you're seeing happening. The futures are already opening on a positive note. And again, I'm not too surprised at this fact. So moving forward though, US spot Ethereum ETF saw over $1.8 billion inflows last week, surpassing Bitcoin ETF inflows of just 72 million. Make that comparison, guys. We saw $1.8 billion and ETH inflow. I'm sorry, for ETH inflows, and Bitcoin only saw 72 million. I think this is wrong. I don't think it's supposed to be 72 million for Bitcoin. Maybe it's 720 million. Let me know in the comments. But regardless, we've been obviously monitoring the inflows on a day-to-day basis. And I know a lot of people are like, Crypto ZX, what does this have to do with XRP? Ethereum is a huge indicator for altcoins. And XRP has already been performing good. It's not that XRP has not been performing good. XRP has pretty much been, maybe I would even argue that it has outpaced Ethereum. But I'm talking in a grand scheme of things as far as the broader market is concerned. And with the way ETH is, seeing these inflows, this should also make you realize once XRP ETF goes live, how much inflows we could see. Because arguably you talk to a lot of people that are involved in crypto or even outside crypto, you talk to them about naming, 5 coins that they can think of. 90% of the time XRP will come on board because that's how popular XRP is. But it's obviously been in the space for quite some time, and they've been building for so many years, Ripple, and of course now they're starting to really get the benefit of really thriving, innovating on a day-to-day basis for the last decade plus, and now we can really see that really playing out for them. But this is huge, guys. This is huge numbers that we shouldn't really be forgetting. And on top of that, nearly $1 billion worth of Ethereum shorts will be liquidated if Ethereum hits $4,000, which we're coming very close to. And I do believe whales could push the price just so these shorts can get liquidated. But take a look at this. Binance founder CZ estimated net worth hits $75 billion as BNB reaches a new all-time high of $850. CZ holds approximately 64% of the circulation supply of BNB. That's huge. That's huge. I can say my personal thoughts on that, but I don't really want to get into the detail. But that's really, really a big milestone for Binance itself. And now you're starting to see a trend because XRP has actually, actually reached a new all-time high in terms of unofficial all-time high. So you're starting to notice a trend forming here. And as far as the unofficial all-time high, which a lot of people are projecting above $3.82, I think that is imminent. We're going to see that happening much quicker than you think. And look at this. Shout out to Subjective Views. In this video, it's pretty much going over how people in the financial industry kind of saying it looks like Ripple is going to white label their technology to the ultra large banks, who have been waiting on the sidelines to offer digital asset custody solutions to their customers by the end of this year or early next year. So pretty much in this interview, these guys are kind of going back and forth and talking about how the entire landscape for the financial industry has changed, and that is after the U.S. election and after Donald Trump was elected as the president, because of course under him there's been a lot of clarity. He has brought a lot of eyes on this industry, and these banks are finally eager to really start offering these services to their clientele. And they're not just gonna, when it comes to these banks, most of these banks are not too experienced in this tech. So they obviously want to be partnering with these industry leaders in the digital asset space. What rings a bell? XRP, Ripple as a company rings a bell because they have so many different solutions that can really help a lot of these organizations and the banks. And this is where the ISO standard even applies. So we're in like a complete shift moment for the industry, what a lot of people kind of overlook because people are more tied to the price. But you kind of need to focus on the utility aspect as well. And this right here is a perfect example of that. And if you're looking at the volume, it's starting to increase. And you can see, Korean Upbit Exchange volume has started to increase as we are going into Monday morning. That's something I pointed out to you guys at the beginning. We're approaching $6 billion. And since our last night update, we're looking at almost double if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the trading volume. XRP is about to see a major breakout, and I will explain why when I pull out the charts for you guys. But look at this. Confidential documents reveals the systematically important banks, including Standard, Bank of America and Standard Chartered, are serving as advisory to the Ripple network. And you can actually see some other banks as well: MUFG, Eastpak, RBC. This is one of the big banks in Canada. So you can really see some big names that are, linked with, of course, this document over here. It's pretty much titled as a network with rules and governance, and advisors are listed, of course, below. But now let's take a look at, what's happening with the price. I've indicated to you guys the importance of the index, which is the dominance index. It's pretty much pulling down, and this is exactly what you want to see happening. We did break below 61%. Amazing to see, because Bitcoin broke out to almost $120,000 per BTC just not too long ago, but we have seen a little bit of a rejection. As I stated over my last few updates, do expect this week to have some volatility going into the FOMC meeting that's taking place. But the day of the meeting, I do believe you're going to see the market, bouncing regardless of rate cut being, happening or not. If it happens, great, because 95% of the polls on Poly Market are saying there's no rate cut. And I think we're not going to see a rate cut this time. But if we do, I do personally think that the market is going to react in a really positive note. But you're starting to look at the dominance really weakening. This is really, really a good sign. Bitcoin pretty much ranging around the 119,000. Amazing to see. What a good way to start off a brand new week. But if you're looking at XRP here, look at this, guys. We wicked up to, you cannot make this up here. We wicked up to the $3.31, just above that key resistance that I talked to you guys about at $3.27. But look where we're being supported by this time around, though, that $3.26 to 27 cents key support line, which I draw for you guys. So that's where we're being supported by, but we did wick above that key range. Exactly what you want to see happening, but thanks to the dominance obviously pulling down and Bitcoin doing the complete opposite, pushing towards the upside. That is a major catalyst behind this move. And I do personally project that, we are going to fill this wick and start heading towards the key range of the $3.40, because pretty much after that, I think fireworks could start and we could start heading up to the unofficial all-time high where people will finally be happy. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Where do you see the price of XRP going? If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button. I'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.